Welcome to the Perky TV show on the Wake Up Call Network. Today my guest is LaDonna Wright.
Hello.
She is the founder of Shared Sweat LLC and the creator of this great relationship game called Secret 7. She's also a registered nurse and a relationship expert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to start off with the first couple words in the back of the box that says easy, sexy, hot, and passionate. So why is it on the box? Tell us, what's this game all about?
Well, those are some of the outcomes that you have when you play Secret 7.
Excellent.
So Secret 7 is an easy, fun, passionate game to play.
Okay.
Something that you would enjoy with your husband, your girlfriend, or your partner.
Okay.
So that's Secret 7.
Excellent. So help us understand kind of why you created the game. Did you feel there was a void in the market for relationship games or communication or both?
Right. So I created Secret 7 actually as a experience for myself and my husband on a date. Actually, it was going to be a Valentine's date. And I wanted to come up with a creative experience for us.
Okay.
So I went to the adult novelty stores and really could not find any games that they would recommend. So I kind of made up my own game. And then I asked my friends and relatives about different games that they would recommend. And they couldn't name any either. So I kind of came up with this game. Basically, I took some pieces of index cards and wrote on them. And wrote different things. And then I had my husband do the same thing. And we'd compete to roll a 7 or 11. And then if he did so, he pulled the card, and then he performed that act for 2 minutes by setting our kitchen timer at that time.
I see.
Yes.
And when you say act, let's help kind of clarify for the audience.
Yes.
These acts range from mild to wild.
Right.
And being a kid-friendly show, we'll stick with the mild cards today.
Right.
But give us some examples of some of the cards that you think contribute to a quality, healthy relationship.
Well, so Secret 7 contains a library of 400 pleasure cards.
Okay.
And these cards are color-coded from mild to wild, with mild being a mild to romantic type card.
Okay.
And those are the blue cards. And then there's yellow cards that are a little bit more moderate.
Okay.
And then there's red cards that are very explicit.
Oh boy.
Yes.
See how she smiles when she's explicit?
No, most people do when I say
You guys are getting a little closer to the TV, turn the radio up a little bit more.
Yes.
Explicit. We're not going to talk about that in the show today.
Correct.
Get the game,
Yes.
Secret 7, then you can find out all the explicit things inside. So we're going to focus on the mild side. So give us an example of some of the things.
So the mild card may say something like slow dance with me,
Okay.
walk sexy for me, give me a back massage, things of that nature.
I see.
And with Secret 7, it's just basically a great communication tool, a great way to communicate what you are in the mood for.
Okay.
So actually how you play Secret 7 is very easy, like I said. You go through the library of cards, and you're going to select 7 cards that you want done to you.
Okay.
And that's going to be in any combination and any variation that you want.
Okay.
And then your partner's going to do the same thing. The secret is you're not going to know what your partner has chosen, and they're not going to know what you've chosen until you compete to roll a 7 or 11. If you hit a 7 or 11, like I just did, see that?
Nice.
7?
I'm the victim first.
Yes. Then they're going to pull from one of your cards, and then they're going to perform that act on you for 2 minutes by setting an audible timer.
Nice.
And then once the timer alarms, you go back to shooting the dice. And the winner is simply the first person to have all 7 cards performed on them.
Excellent. So if you're good at rolling the dice, if you're good at the game of craps,
Right.
this is the game for you.
Exactly.
Because you'll be rolling 7s, 11s all night long, and
Exactly.
you're part of this.
Basically a craps dice game.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, so, but exactly, it does fill a void in the marketplace because if you were to ask most people to name an adult game or relationship game, they're not going to be able to do so. So we're branding Secret 7 to be that adult game or that relationship game that you'll be able to say. So, you know how you can say Monopoly or Uno, but if I say name a relationship game, most people can't do so.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why I brought it to market.
Excellent. And I think as a viewer and someone listening to the show, I'm sure all of us have perfect relationships, but realistically we don't. And part of that problem is communication. So I guess it's of your hopes or your dreams that by having a game they can play, maybe the relationship's great, maybe the relationship's in the middle, maybe the relationship's not so great, but maybe communication can help repair that relationship.
Right.
Have you experienced, people have reached out to you after buying the game that you've had some great success stories of people that now have a better relationship and they feel like, what they enjoy is expressed through the cards. They can't say it because it's just too weird or awkward for them, but they can say it through a card. Have you found that to be true for a lot of couples you work with?
Most definitely. People enjoy the fact that they don't have to really verbalize their communication, that the cards say them. And they were looking to actually kind of find out if the partner was interested in doing some of these acts, but they didn't really want to come to that partner and say, would you be interested in doing this? So the card kind of says it for them. Also, what people have been doing is, or relationships, sometimes they get old and people stop being intimate with one another. So this kind of tells people to, just slow dance with me for a minute. It kind of adds that foreplay in the relationship where you kind of would otherwise skip in a fun and exciting way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. So should we play the game in some capacity without performing the acts?
Well, I don't know.
Because again, this is PG.
David, I don't know how we could really do that.
We can roll the dice.
We could roll the dice.
Okay, so let me pick out 7 cards. You pick out 7 cards. Just so the audience has a sense of how the game is played.
Okay, so.
And we're both married to different people, so we can't exactly.
Right. So
make this a.
So the cards would be out, like
full-on demonstration.
You would take them out, right?
Okay.
And then there's a stack of blue cards in here, a stack of yellow, and a stack of red cards.
Okay.
There's also black cards, which are the blank cards that you create your own act. So you can use a dry eraser, a marker, or a pencil and write anything that you want on there. And the partner's not going to know that they've done so because it has a common backside. So that's kind of the wild card, if you will. So,
I see.
And then that card's in there, and then I have my 7. So then you would have your 7.
Right. And I roll it.
Yeah.
Roll it. Are we going to throw the dice at the same time, or
No,
one at a time?
One at a time.
So of course I got 12.
Okay, so
I got nothing.
So you get nothing.
Right.
So then I go, which I'm very lucky.
She gets a 6. She gets
and then
nothing.
keep going back and forth.
And we just keep looking at each other until.
Right.
An 8.
Okay. But what happens during this time, this is when all of the anticipation is
right.
growing.
My heart's fluttering.
Excitement is happening, and this is all the gameplay. Okay. So that's
10, 12.
So right now, usually people are getting very competitive. They're getting excited. They're like, can't wait to hit that 7 or 11.
11. See?
Okay, so,
my turn now.
Yes. So if you had any cards, I would pick one of your cards,
Unbelievable.
and then I would read
Of course,
that.
since I won, I don't have any
Right,
cards.
exactly.
Like how that works out.
Right. So if you had cards, I would pick one, right? I'd
Okay.
read it. I'd be like, oh my gosh, he wants me to do that.
Right.
And then
My card is nibble in my ear, maybe. We'll say it's something like that.
Right.
So for 2 minutes, she has to nibble in my ear.
Right.
Okay.
So we set the timer. We do it for 2 minutes. This is only set for 2 seconds for time's
Right.
sake.
Again, my luck.
Right.
I win, I get 2 seconds. She wins, she gets 2 minutes.
Right. So the timer is adjustable as well. So
Okay.
sometimes you might just want a quickie. So you might set it for 30 seconds or for maybe 1 minute.
Okay.
Whatever you're in the mood for. But 2 minutes just is enough time to get that intimacy, to get things rolling, but yet says a stop. So it's a big tease with the 2 minutes.
Excellent. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah,
So-
so that's Secret 7.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you showing us the game and demonstrating as much as we can for the cameras.
Mhm.
So help us understand behind the scenes of the Secret 7. When did you create it?
Okay.
And how long ago it was? And where do you see it going forward? And is there other deviation of the game in the future? Kind of give us a sense of where the company's heading.
So I created Secret 7 in 2011.
Okay.
So right now we're sold in all the adult novelty stores, basically all around the world,
Okay.
as well as I sell it on secret7.com
Okay.
and on Amazon.
You guys hear that? Secret7.com.
Yes.
And it's just spelled out.
It's secretvii.com.
Okay. So
And-
the numerals, not the number 7.
Yeah.
Not the word 7 right now. Okay.
And actually, it's the #1 selling adult game in stores where it's sold. And again, what I'm doing with Secret 7 is mainstreaming, and I want it to be the go-to game that couples will, recognize that that's the relationship game that they would use and recognize or recommend to their family and friends as well.
Okay. So is there a stereotypical family or couple that would this be perfect for? Someone that may be experiencing certain situations or certain types of relationships you think you've had a higher success rate for, you get more
Right.
positive feedback from? Maybe newlyweds, or is it people in their 30s, 40s, 50s? Is there a certain
Right.
geographical group that you feel is just seems to give you the most positive feedback from it?
Right. Well, because it's a foreplay game and
Okay.
it's catered for you to, cater it to your needs and your wants, it's kind of open for all people.
Okay.
Basically. So people that are newlyweds certainly like it because it's a communication game. It's a great way to find out exactly, some of the things that you may be interested in doing, some of the things that you may be interested in trying to spice up the relationship.
Okay.
And then a relationship that's been together for a while, it's just using it just to keep the relationship hot, just to keep the relationship pretty exciting. So they use Secret 7. And then a couple that's been married for a long period of time, they too enjoy Secret 7 just because, everything is kind of gets boring sometimes. So it's a great way to just have fun And it really allows you to come together for a certain amount of time and just be into each other and play the game.
Okay. So for that guy that does the same foreplay before every interaction, is a
Right.
chance for him to mix it up a little bit.
Right.
Something different.
Exactly. His woman is going to love Secret Seven. And women love it because they get to do some of the romantic stuff, then they get to do, some of the more, exciting things as well. They can mix it up. So, and men love it because they really kind of want to know what you want me to do. And
Right.
the cards kind of say, look, I want you to do this, 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 and this. And it's really fun for him as well because he doesn't have to be told in a verbal way, but kind of in a fun and exciting way.
Or guess.
Exactly.
I think it's a lot of challenges too, is the men have to guess what the women like.
Exactly.
And I'm sure the women guess what the men like,
Exactly.
and vice versa. So this eliminates a lot of the guessing in your relationship and just allows you to communicate.
Yeah.
And maybe you stop, obviously you want to stop using the cards, but
Right.
do you find that people use the cards less and are just able to vocalize it once it's been done, or once they've been able to communicate in this way? Has it opened up doorways to better communication?
I think definitely. So some of the people are, starting to play the game without the actual game, just their go-to new foreplay act that they really enjoy. But one thing about Secret Seven is when you play it, every game is a new game. You choose 7 different cards, whatever you're in the mood for at that day.
Yes.
So you go through and say, okay, I want him to do this, 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 and then she's kind of doing the same thing. And what's so exciting about it is you don't know which 7 that your partner is going to choose at that time.
Right.
You might think it's the same 7 that we played before, but this time they're like, okay, now I want to try this. So really fun, really exciting, and just a great way, like I said, to keep things really spicy and try things and keep things fresh and new.
Excellent. Well, I think it definitely summarizes easy, sexy, hot, and passionate.
Yes.
So help us understand the journey you've been on. Obviously, you said you created this back in 2011, correct?
Correct. Yes.
That's 7 years ago.
Right.
Help us understand, and maybe some of you out there have your own game that may or may not be in the same space.
Right.
Help them understand that are listening or watching what it takes to bring a game to market, some of the challenges you've been through, maybe some of the successes, some of the failures even, something they can learn from your experiences.
Okay. Well, as a profession, I'm a registered nurse and I do hospice care.
Okay.
So I was working with hospice, and in my spare time, I would start looking into how do I actually bring this game to market? Like, how can I find manufacturing? How do I get it copywritten? Get the trademark? What are all the different things that I have to do to self-publish to bring this game to market?
Okay.
But also, at the time, I was living in Chicago, and they would have the big game conference, toy and game conference, where people from Mattel, Hasbro, people of that industry would come together once a year and kind of network with each other. So I was able to attend some of those seminars and learn a lot from those people.
Did you have a booth at those shows, or you just walked
Oh
around?
no, it was
or?
just totally educational at that
Okay,
time. I was
gotcha.
just getting information about, there was no game that I wanted to duplicate that was actually in this market. Some of the games that are in the space that I was looking for were kind of, cheesier games, a little bit poorly made. So
Okay.
I wanted to bring a game to the market that was a little bit higher quality and something that I knew that could be in mainstream America as well.
Okay. So share some of your successes early on, maybe some of your challenges early on, maybe it'd be packaging, or maybe it'd be the first time the game landed on your front doorstep, and you're like, all right, it's here, it's
Right.
game on.
Right.
And you start launching all your social media
Right.
and all your websites and so on and so forth. Kind of walk us through a little bit of that
Right.
process, early on, because I think a lot of the people that are watching, they have ideas, they want to do it, but they're so intimidated by the process. So kind of help them understand, some of the things you learn from the process that
Right.
if you could do it all over again, you may do differently, or you do exactly the same.
Well, the biggest thing that you want to do, and what I did up front, is research. Really
Okay.
research whatever market that you're looking to enter.
Okay.
So just research the market, make sure that there's a need in it for the market, find out what the competition is, and how you will differentiate your product or whatever you're bringing, your service or whatever you're bringing to the market. Make sure it's different, and making sure that there's actually a need for it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. So that was one of the big things that I did.
So before you put a bunch of money into it, do your research.
Do your research.
That's
Make sure
number
that,
one.
look at your numbers. Make sure it's going to be a profit. Make sure that you can afford. And that's the other thing. When people are starting businesses, you want to make sure that you're doing a business that you can actually afford, or
Right.
figure out how you're going to get the money up front to pursue whatever your business that you're looking to do. So once I did all of that, I said, I think I can do this. I think I can actually, self-publish this product and actually bring it to market. Basically, with a product and with a game of this nature, you just sell it, or you make it, and then you sell it.
Okay.
And if you don't sell it, if it's not selling, then you're kind of like basically out of business. I've been lucky to stay in business just because of repeat purchase orders and, just getting word of mouth basically.
Okay. And so step one is do your research.
Yes, do your
Step
research.
two, make sure you have funding.
Make sure
And one thing LaDonna said earlier I think is really important is she said she was a registered nurse, so she has a full-time job
Yes,
along with the invention.
right.
And are you still doing the registered nursing, or are you,
Right.
you full-time?
So I go back and forth.
Go back and forth.
I go back
Which
and
is
forth.
hard because you need capital
Exactly.
to keep the product going and keep
Exactly.
moving. And it's tempting to leave your full-time job and just do your invention.
Right.
But you run into financial challenges along the way where you need more money, and if you can fall back on that full-time job, it's
Right,
helpful.
right.
But at the same time, one thing that's going to grow is what you put your full-time effort towards. So that's the other hard part. That I think every entrepreneur has that battle in their head all the time is,
Right.
I want to give attention to my baby, but at the same time, I need cash flow to survive.
Exactly. And me being a registered nurse and working in the hospice space, I was very passionate about that work. I still am very passionate about that work. So when I was not doing it I took about 2 years off from work. I took 2 years consecutively off for about 4 years.
Okay.
So I took 2 years off, then went back to work for a year, and then took another 2 years off
Okay.
while doing the game. But basically, sometimes I need to go to work and just be a nurse and do that. And then sometimes, all the time actually, I need to really focus on the game and getting that out there. And then the game, it creates a demand for you to do more business. So the more business that you do, the more you need to be in business doing your business.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Exactly. Well, share with us a success story. Share with us a big PO, a big order that you got that just made you feel like, hey, you know what? I think I finally arrived, and this game is going to be a huge hit. Because every entrepreneur inventor loves that moment.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of times they're few and far between initially.
Right.
But share with us a success story.
Well, the biggest success story is selling on Amazon.
Okay.
So actually, over Christmas break, we were a bestseller on Amazon.
Jeff Bezos was just hitting the like button right there.
Yeah, so we were a bestseller on Amazon. That was huge because that means that this game was a bestseller in its space.
Right.
So that was a huge marker for me, being in the marketplace for 7 years and really actually seeing that I'm a bestseller. Secret 7's a bestseller on that platform. So that was a huge benchmark for me.
And how long was that stretch for?
Very short.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just over the Christmas
Okay, but
Christmas
still.
time. Correct.
It's still important.
Yeah.
It's still a milestone. I remember I used to watch my graphs on Amazon.
Yes.
See it go nice and straight up, and
Yeah.
it was exciting. I used to share those on social media because I wanted to share my excitement
Right.
that they're buying more and more every single month.
Right. Right. But Amazon is still the number one vendor for me. Is still.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
So-
and it's continuing to grow. Last year we're probably about 300% up in sales from last year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Congratulations.
It is. Thank you.
So give us an example, because obviously not every invention or game is a success right off the bat. Give us an example of something that really frustrated you, or a kind of a down point on Secret 7, where maybe your husband said, hey, honey, I think you just need to go back to nursing for a couple more years and let's save some money, or you started doubting yourself, like maybe
Right.
maybe it's not meant to be, or this is too hard for me, I don't have the time it takes to really bring it to the next level. Did you ever have any of those moments or any low points that you learned from as a result?
Well, I continue to have those. I'm having
Okay.
them right now because this is also a great product to market.
Right.
So getting funding, in this space has been very challenging.
Okay.
So I don't know if people know, but this is still considered an adult novelty product. As much as I try to mainstream it, mainstream the box, mainstream the product, it's still an adult product. So you have to find special people to invest in adult products.
I
It's
see.
a $15 billion industry, as
Sure.
we all know, but
Sure.
you still got to find funding, and that initial funding is always, tough.
That's the hardest part.
And that's I'm facing that right now. Like I totally need funding to do the marketing that I'm looking to do right now.
I feel your pain. That's
Yeah.
definitely the hardest
Yeah.
part. And those of you that are watching that are entrepreneurs, inventors, banks want to give you money. So
Right.
you got to find
Right.
capital
Right.
somewhere.
Right. So I'm working on
Investors,
that.
but you hate to give away equity so early in the game too. So
Yeah.
it's such a
Yeah.
double-edged sword. And
Right.
It's very challenging. Funding, I think, is the hardest part.
It is.
And
It
you
is.
always need more. There's never enough, unfortunately.
That is correct.
What about early on? Was there any challenges you had when you first got the game with the packaging? Any issues or challenges where this was no go? You had to throw things away. Any challenge you ran into early on? Was everything?
This is still the original game, so not much.
So even your
not-
first shipment was right on the money.
Yes. So we
Okay, you're
do.
lucky.
So
That's
we
good.
do manufacture here in the United States. So
Okay.
it's United States made as well.
Okay.
Made in America, if
Nice.
you will. So that's one good thing. So with that, we have a great quality product. I'm able to, communicate with them very effectively. So that was a barrier that I didn't actually have up front.
Okay.
And that's not a barrier that I don't have that barrier now. And that's something that people experience. So I've been very lucky. And I'm very frugal with the decisions that I make. Like, I don't really spend a lot of money. My goal is all about sales, not about spending too much money, as you know.
That's it.
Yeah.
So tell me something that you had to do that's outside your comfort zone. I think all entrepreneurs can relate to when you go to a trade show and you got to stop random strangers as they walk by. When you do a booth, like a kiosk in the mall,
Right.
You got to stop people as they walk by. They're not there to see you.
That's
right. So the phrase I always use is you're a nobody until you become a somebody. And for a lot of people, that's outside their comfort zone, and they're just not want to do that. So they're license it out, let someone else run with it, or just not do that part of the business, and just put on Amazon, and whatever sales they get is what they get.
Right.
That face-to-face selling is hard for them.
Right.
Tell us something that you've done that was really awkward or initial, including this interview.
Right. Yeah, this is still something that I'm actually a very private person, so me coming in front of the camera and giving these interviews, this is actually out of my comfort zone.
But you got to do it.
It's something that I totally got to do.
Right.
And no person better to do it because I know the product in and out. I'm very passionate about the product.
Passionate.
It's
in the box.
Exactly.
Gotta be passionate.
And I created the product, so I like the way I know how to do it. And I like the way that I do it, and the way that I do it is effective.
Right.
But still, just being here and interviewing, even though I know you, it's still challenging.
Sure.
Yeah.
So give us one more example. I'm not going to get it off that easy. Give us something else that you've done in the last 7 years that's outside your comfort zone.
Okay.
That you now do a lot easier because you got through the nervousness of that activity.
Well, pitching the product. So now I pitch the product a little bit more often, whether I'm pitching it to a retail store or pitching it as a vendor at a booth, just pitching the product. Basically, I'm able to comfortably pitch the product really well at this point.
Pitching to direct-to-consumer or to stores? Or
investors, buyers, whomever.
Okay. So you did trade shows that were direct-to-consumer and trade shows that were to retailers?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So you've got that was a nervous aspect for you, and you kind of...
Oh, yeah. When I first went I would do trade shows in Las Vegas and in California. So when I would go there and set up, and I was new I'm a registered nurse, so I was new to this whole setting up and being a actual manufacturer is what they called me at those trade shows. So I would come there and introduce my product and have to tell people about it, but I found it was very easy because it was a fun game. It's something that people are doing. People are having intimacy with each other. And it was kind of a good idea, so people would really buy into it. So my feedback was always pretty good. And basically, I just kind of told them how to play the game. It's very easy to explain. So that kind of made it a little bit easier.
Makes sense. So I assume you had to learn to wear the other hats, which is you're used to being LaDonna the nurse.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you're LaDonna the manufacturer, LaDonna the secret setting creator.
Right.
So that takes some getting used to as well.
Most definitely had to learn how to set up quickly, how to break down quickly. I mean, we're doing this all, myself and my husband, ourselves. So we travel to like California, set up the booth, ship product in, sell there, sell directly to the buyers, get purchase orders. It was a big eye-opener, a big deal to start doing something new like that. He doesn't work in business. He works in corporate America. I worked in healthcare. So this business, we really had to really learn it and kind of find out what's, best ways of doing stuff, watching how other people do stuff, and just really taking it and learning from what they do.
And you said earlier that you're frugal, so I'm going to ask you a question about the trade shows. This is really one of the things that drive me crazy.
That's
your first trade show you go, I'm sure it costs anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, depends on where you're going.
correct.
What were your expectations on that first trade show? I'm going to go, I'm going to pay for a hotel, I'm going to pay for airfare, I'm going to pay for the booth.
Right.
You're 10 grand deep. Where do you want to get out of the show for you to consider a success?
You know what? I wanted profits. You know this.
Right.
I wanted profits. That's not always the truth of a trade show. I had to start looking at this. This is marketing.
You guys listening to this? This is really important to understand.
Right, so this is now, I took it out of sales to be marketing.
Right.
Okay. So at that point, I was like, I'm getting exposure, I'm getting feedback from a large amount of people, and I'm really learning the business. So I start looking at, besides sales, what else am I getting? Because the sales is definitely what I came there for. But then I started looking at relationship building, like, okay, who is this person? How many stores do they own, and where are they located, and what market are they in, and what other products do they sell? And I just started thinking a little bit bigger, and I was thinking about follow-up. So follow-up from a trade show is very key. So you can't just leave a trade show adding up how much money you made at the trade show. You need to leave the trade show adding up how much money you plan to make it, from the residual from that trade show.
Okay.
So I had to really start thinking, more business-minded.
Sure, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I agree with LaDonna 100%. The connections you make at a trade show is hard to quantify, but it makes a big difference. And to give you a quick example, I went to Vegas for the very first time, which is my first trade show.
Right.
Again, I was probably 10 grand deep like everybody else, and my wife said, "How much did you make?"
Right.
And I tried to say, I did okay.
Right.
I don't think I got back what I put in.
Right.
But the relationships I created, I met a gentleman that had a store in Cape Girardeau, Missouri,
Right.
that got me into Northwest Buyers, which then got me into 40 more stores.
Right.
So you add all the money those 40 additional stores paid, I definitely made money.
Right.
But at
right.
the moment I left the trade show, it was at a loss.
Right.
And I think a lot of inventors and entrepreneurs out there, after that first trade show, if it's not a huge home run, you
Right.
get discouraged.
Right.
But you have to think long term. Don't just focus on what you sell at the booth. It's the connections you make with people around you that are in a similar industry,
Exactly.
as well as the potential sales after the fact, people that they know they can recommend to you that could help make that show more valuable.
Correct.
It's
Right.
just hard to overall quantify the value of a trade show.
Exactly.
But just be friendly and just keep doing your pitch and
Right.
keep your head high and
Right.
keep pushing forward.
So, our budget kind of got a little bit less for the trade shows because they weren't as profitable as I was looking for them.
Right.
And once you go in there, you
Well,
make
especially
those
selling wholesale too.
Right.
It's even tougher.
and one product.
Right.
I mean, doing a trade show with one product is tough.
It is tough.
It's tough. You want to have a slew of products where you get purchase orders for many things.
Right.
And that's when when I sell directly to buyers. Now, when I sell directly to consumer, having one product is actually an advantage because I only have
Keep it
one
simple.
product to explain,
Right.
and I would just keep the numbers and just tell as many people as I could about that product. And actually, the ones directly to consumers were actually more profitable than the ones to manufacturers. Going to manufacturers, they just wanted to validate that you were actually in the marketplace, them seeing you there, but that budget is much bigger. So basically, I went to those trade shows, got that information, and just did a lot of follow-up.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of value in trying to do a balance of both. Some direct-to-consumer shows, some
Yeah.
to retailers where you're selling a wholesale. I think the balance is really key because if you're
Correct.
too heavy in one way or the other,
Correct.
then you're missing out on growth opportunities and potential.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming. Is there anything I missed that we want to cover that the audience that needs to know? Again, secret7.com,
Secret
spelled
7.
SECRET. The numeral
Seven.
the 7. So
Yes.
it's going to be a V.
VII.
There you go.
Yeah. So secretvii.com, as well as on Amazon and in many adult novelty stores near you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
And I hope all of you are excited. Go to Amazon or go to our website and buy the game today. And guys that are watching, first step is have a Perky collar. Once the collar is perky, then you can play the game. If your collar's not perky, your wife has no desire or girlfriend has any desire to play the game with you. She's out playing with someone else that has a nice perky collar. So make that a tip for you.
So foreplay starts with having a
That's a
perky
great way.
collar.
I'll put it on the back of the box.
Yeah.
Foreplay starts with a perky collar. Guys, take notes.
That's correct.
Thank you so much for being here. We will see you next week on the Perky Collar TV show brought to you by the Wake Up Call Network. Have a great evening.
Yep. Thank you.